I'm Kelly Kearney with Starry Constellation Magazine. And with me today to talk about his coming of age comedy, Roommates, which lands on Netflix on the 17th. Welcome, actor Aidan Langford. Thanks so much for talking with me today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Absolutely. Roommates is this fun comedy from Happy Madison Productions and Adam Sandler. You play Alex, brother to main character Devin, played by Sadie Sandler in the film. What initially drew you to the role and made you want to sign on to this kind of crazy college comedy?
Yeah, I mean, when I first read the script, I immediately was obviously felt a connection to Alex and sort of his storyline. I came out at a very similar age to Alex, and I feel like we went through sort of similar things within, discovering ourselves and feeling comfortable and confident in ourselves. And aside from my just immediate sort of draw to Alex as a character, I also felt just like the script overall was so well written and so funny. And it reminded me a lot of some of the early 2000 films that I sort of grew up watching and that I really loved a lot, notably like Mean Girls, which is such a huge film and a cult classic and something that I have watched like a million trillion times probably at this point. Um, and that was sort of the first thing that like stuck out to me. And I was just really excited to like be a part of such an amazing, like funny film.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really a lot of fun. And also, Alex, he's basically getting this crash course in college life through his sister's
Yeah.
triumphs and tragedies. How would you kind of describe his welcome to college through that experience that he witnesses?
I think he's a little bit unsure of, what college is like and what goes on there. And there's definitely like an excitement and like, when you're like in your teens and Alex is 16, there's a like an admiration for people who are older, right? You
Sure.
think they're like immediately so cool and like everything that they do is cool. So I think Alex definitely has that as well, and he feels like maybe one of the like cool kids. He's like at these like frat parties and like doing like drinking and doing things that like maybe not all 16-year-olds do. I hope not. So yeah, I think he's definitely like excited to be a part of that world and get a sneak peek of it. But also maybe a little bit intimidated by it and a little bit unsure by it at moments. Especially I think Celeste can be a little bit pushy at times and
Sure.
a little overbearing, and we see that sort of sprinkled throughout. And I think in those moments, Alex's sort of internal world starts to fracture a bit.
Well, let's talk about that family dynamic because the film it feels refreshing in that way and very genuine when it comes to the sibling relationship. There's no rivalry between the two. It's just kind of support and a deep kind of friendship. How did you approach kind of developing that bond with Sadie?
Yeah, I mean, Sadie made it really easy. We kind of hit it off right off the bat. We both sort of related with each other on a lot of things and also had like very similar interests and similar music tastes. She would like play music and it would be like artists that I really loved. And I was like, wait, no way you like know who that is. Like, you like Ethel Cain? I love Ethel Cain. And it was little things like that sort of throughout filming that I think helped like facilitate that bond and that chemistry that we had within the scenes and also like off screen as well. Um, yeah, I mean, Sadie's just like an absolute angel and like truly was one of the like best people to work with. I love her to death. She's amazing. I did not grow up. I have an older sister, and we had everything else you were talking about, which is like the rivalry
Sure.
and the fighting over the TV remote and all of those like messy things that happen when you have a sibling. I think a lot of people can probably relate to that as well. So it was kind of cool to be like, oh, I have this like older sister in this movie and we're like best friends and we're so like chill with each other and open versus that is not how me and my sister were most of the time. when we were
And it's
growing up.
also not kind of how siblings are portrayed in films often. So it's kind of a refreshing take to see these that just so supportive of each other. Same thing with the family. Alex and Devin's parents, they bring a lot of humor though to their roles. Talk a little bit about working with Natasha Lyonne and Nick Kroll. Was it harder to kind of keep from laughing during certain scenes because they are hysterical?
There were definitely moments where I felt like I was on SNL and was gonna like burst out laughing and needed to kind of zip it and run off camera. They're hilarious and their sort of chemistry together was really cool to watch. They have
Yeah,
such an amazing like banter with each other and they just kind of ping pong ball off each other in almost every scene and that was I like learned a lot just from like watching them interact with each other. And then it was cool to like be a part of that in a way and sort of contribute to those moments as well. And very like surreal because I love Natasha Lyonne. I think she's amazing. And I also love Nick Kroll. Like these are two actors that I've watched for many, many years and been such a
sure.
fan of. So that was very like crazy to be like, wow, and now I'm in a scene with them and we're like doing this together. That's wild.
Well, we have to talk about the other cast members because the cast is packed with comedy legends and legendary actors. Carol Kane, who plays your grandmother Gigi, which, by the way, perfect casting for her as the mother of Natasha Lyonne. Absolutely. And
Like
then
perfect.
perfect, so perfect. And then you have Janine Garofalo, you have SNL star Sarah Sherman, and even a cameo by Steve Buscemi at the end. What was it like working with this kind of diverse and seasoned group of performers? Did you kind of absorb all of that like a little sponge?
I think so. I think there's definitely like when you're around like these people, you definitely like soak up a lot and learn a lot just from watching them. I mean, watching other people do their work and sort of seeing how they approach it is very informative for yourself and for your own work and how you want to go
Sure.
about approaching your scenes. And then also because it was so diverse and because there was so many people a part of this cast, whether it was, you know, some of the like older actors or whether it was the young actors who were in college, you know, Jaya and Bella,
Mhm.
who Jaya's like, oh my God, she's so like all of her moments, I was dying laughing. She's amazing. I can't say enough good things about her. But that sort of mix of a cast led to a very fun, just like set experience generally. Like everyone was having a good time constantly and laughing all the time. And everybody was exactly how you think they are. You know, like they were all just like super down to earth, super funny. Nick Kroll reminds me of like your classic dad. Like even not in his scenes, like this man, like the dad jokes are crazy. Like that is like who he is. So we just had like a really great time overall, and I think it's because there were so many, like it was just a cast of characters, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And everyone was, bringing their A game for that. The comedy was perfect. We have to talk about spring break in the film because there becomes a turning point in the story for Alex, where Alex and Devin at spring break, they're stepping into this party scene, and he's joining his older sister. What was it like filming those wild party sequences, especially the one where your head wound up in the toilet?
In the toilet, I know. Can I just say that the fake vomit that I had to hold in my mouth before
Mm.
throwing up into the toilet was disgusting. They made it with like strawberry puree. I don't even know, like a fake smoothie that you buy at like Ralph's or whatever grocery store, and then crushed bananas inside of it, which like texturally,
Yeah.
like actually I think I maybe wanted to throw up because it was so gross. Um, and then we were filming all of these scenes in a real frat house. Like
Wow.
these scenes were not like a set. Like this was
Mhm.
a frat house. So it smelled like a frat house. And the toilet was cleaned, of course,
Of
before I had to
course.
stick my head in it. But the smells, I think, were just kind of lingering on the porcelain or soaked into the tile because it was pretty nasty. And then we had a green room upstairs, and on one of the walls there were like kegs lined
Mm.
up, like stacked. I don't think I'd ever seen a keg in real life because I never
Right.
had like really been to a frat. I'd been to one when I was in my like freshman year of college, and it was the architecture frat, so it was a pretty, no offense to them, but it was a pretty lame frat party. It was not anything like this. So that was like crazy and also kind of cool to have that experience of going to a frat party, but also like it's not, and you're like
Right.
safe, and there's nothing like that crazy going on. But it was a lot of fun. And I also felt very awkward because I'm not a dancer. And there are moments where me and Celeste, Chloe, we had to like be
Yes.
dancing on the dance floor. And when you're filming these scenes, they usually have what's called like a thump track.
Mhm.
And so it's just bass, there's no music. So we're all like crammed together, it's hot, and like dancing to basically nothing.
To nothing.
Um, and it felt so awkward and weird, but it was also just like a lot of fun.
Well, there's also this standout scene involving Taco Bell, a bottle of Tito's, and it plays a role in sort of this coming out moment for Alex. What can you share about filming that scene and making it feel really authentic?
That scene, yeah, I we had actually so the writer, one of the writers, Jimmy and I had talked a lot about kind of how we wanted that scene to look, right?
Mhm.
We felt like maybe there's a lot of these super like more high octane, very emotional coming out scenes.
Sure, sure.
Um, and we wanted that to be sort of different and unique from those. And because Sadie and or Devin and Alex have such a like close relationship and because they're so open with each other, we felt like it would be okay and it would make sense for that scene to be a little bit more casual in that way. Of course,
Yeah,
it's still emotional and Alex is still a little bit scared to kind of break the news, which I think is why he kind of also just spits it out. Because
right.
when you're coming out, and I mean this happened to me as well, like you get to a point where you're like, okay, I just gotta say it. I just have to say it. I can't like beat around the bush anymore. I'm just gonna have to say it. So you just say it, and then you're like, okay, I did
It's
it.
out. It's
That's
out
out.
there.
It's done. It's done. So there was definitely like that sort of situation that happened as well, which I really loved. And it's just overall a very like intimate and quiet and sweet scene. And I think it was such a like a good choice to do it that way.
Yeah.
And as a Taco Bell lover, I was like, I'm so glad that we're doing this over Taco Bell, both for Alex and for Aiden. This is amazing. And I remember going to like high school parties and people would put Tito's in their Taco Bell. Don't do that, guys. It's not underage drinking is bad. But um like there were just so many little elements that felt so real and
Yeah.
authentic. And that's really like kudos to like the writers and, the art department and everyone for kind of creating that moment and help like facilitate that.
It felt so real and so safe between you two, and just like just very casual, which I think it should be when you're in with someone that you care
Yeah.
so much about. They're there to catch you if you fall, kind of feeling. And it was just a great, perfect, little bit of a dramatic moment in a very funny movie.
And that family is so like close
Open,
with each other and so
yes,
big and so like I think that that helps with sort of that like comfortability of just being able to say like, hey, there's this thing I need to tell you about my
right.
life that I think you should know.
And it doesn't change anything. It just move on from it. And that was a
Yeah.
great that was a great scene. I thought we have to talk about a little bit about working with the director, Jenna Levac. Did she leave much room for improv and those more comedic scenes, or were you guys really stuck to the script?
No,
No.
Chandler was like very big on like letting us sort of play and have moments and improving and maybe just sort of like having that opportunity and that space to not feel like, oh, we all need to be like word perfect right now and
Right.
this is how the scene is. She was very open to being like, no, have fun, like, play around, see what happens. I think in every scene in the whole film, there's maybe, at least one or two lines that are fully improved.
Hmm.
Like there's not a single scene in that movie that is exactly the same as it was when I got the script in May
The
before we had
turkey
even.
explosion. Any ad libs in that turkey explosion scene?
I think there were some ad libs in that scene. That is one of my favorite scenes,
It's
and
hysterical.
Carol Kane's just like reaction to everything happening is absolutely golden. And the fire extinguisher, just everything about it is so funny. I did get a splinter while filming that scene because we were like running down the stairs and I like brushed my hand and got a splinter in it. But the show must go on, so the show
Well,
went
with
on
such
and
a
we did
large
that.
ensemble cast, was there anyone that you didn't get a chance to work with that you really hoped that you would have?
Yeah, there's a couple people I would really love to do something with Ivy Woke. I think she's hilarious and like weirdly a voice of a generation. Like that girl is funny and also crazy, and I love that about her. Love to do something with her. I'd love to do something with Steve Buscemi. I mean, like that is like an absolute legend.
Yeah,
And we had a brief scene together, but that scene was really between, him and his daughter
yeah,
in the back.
Celeste.
Yeah, so those are probably the two people that I would be like most kind of dying to do something with.
Well, there are like these plethora of films of the freshman experience, across the decade. Like you were talking about Mean Girls, maybe not a freshman experience, high school experience. Whether it is comedy or drama, there's a lot of these coming of age movies. What sets roommates apart from those and is going to get people to click onto Netflix and watch it?
I think it's like the authenticity in it. Like
Yeah,
every moment in this film, even though it's funny and even though it can be sort of a little outlandish at times, it's still every moment feels very real and I think will resonate with a lot of people. I mean, even when I read the script, I had a horrible roommate at one point. We're good now. We worked it out on the remix, but there are these sort of themes and these moments that I think are just very authentic and very well written and feel very true to now. And also, it's sort of a modern take on a lot of these like
yeah,
older coming of age
yeah.
films, and feels very current.
It's very recognizable. If you've been to college, you've had a roommate that drives you crazy, you're unsure of yourself in a new setting. It's very familiar. It's a fun new take on it. What's next for you, Aiden? You working on any other projects we can look out for?
For me, I right now I've gotten into writing, so I'm actually writing my own short right now, a horror short, which is a total
Congratulations.
thank you. Yeah, it's a total 180 from the comedy and from roommates, but I'm very excited to be doing that, and it's been a really great like learning experience for me and to also like get the perspective of sort of what writers go through when they're like
Sure.
writing these films and TV shows. So that's something I'm working on right now. I have an EP that I'm working on as well. Filmed a music video for that in the spring, and so that'll hopefully come out over the summer. So I'm excited for that as well. That's a more early 2000s sort of rock style that I learned to really love and kind of fell in love with. So those are just like two things that I've got right now that I'm working on, and then we'll just have to see what else comes down the line.
Well, we can't wait to see what comes down the line. Thanks so much for talking with me today about the film. I really enjoyed it. I laughed and I loved so many of the scenes, especially like we talked about the turkey scene. It was hysterical. Fans, if you want to catch Sadie and Natasha and Aiden and the entire hysterical cast and roommates, make sure you check out this freshman experience, Roommates, Netflix, April 17th.